Let's catch up with Pete Lalor, who was at the SCG yesterday when the World Cup trophy was paraded publicly for the first time on these shores. Hello to you, Pete.
Hello, Gerard. Can I just say that I think that was one of the most illuminating interviews I've heard in cricket, the one that you did with Andrew McDonald yesterday. It was absolutely outstanding. So to pump your tyres up and Andrew's, but I was fascinated by the revelations in that interview. I just know so much more about what's happened at the World Cup, and like a few other people, I think I know a lot more about what's going to happen in the future and also why. And on top of that, just that reflection of the team and the way it operates, and just get that sense that Andrew McDonald and Pat Cummins, I mean, we've known it, but are just the right people for this team and this time. It almost sounds, they're not ultimatums, but there's a lack of emotion with these two guys. They're very sort of, they're just practical. And, you know, it's hard not to compare it to the Justin Langer era. And I don't want to, and I don't do it to denigrate what went before, because I think that was an appropriate way to go about it. But they've taken the emotion out of everything. And even that decision around the toss, I found was fantastic, because it was data and data only. The data said you chased on that wicket, you chase on black clay wickets. Incredible to have picked that up from the Chennai match. Incredible to reject that thing that says you change your processes in finals and runs on the board are what mattered. Significant too, I think, because even the Indians were taken aback by that. Ravi Ashwin brought it up. Yep. He said he had a chat with Andrew McDonald pitch side during the final, and McDonald said, "Look, it's a black clay wicket. This is why we've done what we've done." And Ashwin just shook his head and said, "We've lost all our secrets." And you used that phrase, "lens of a bowling captain." That added to that decision too, didn't it? Because a bowling captain knew how hard it was going to be to bowl in those conditions. Second, a batting captain, I don't know. Batters are a little self-contained. They just a little bit, let's say, ignorant of the needs of everyone else in the team. He certainly suggests that. And said, this is the way we're going to do it. I thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed that interview. In fact, I listened to it twice.
What did it tell you about some of the thinking going on behind the scenes as to what we're going to experience when we hit the test circuit this year?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I took it the same things that Benny Horne's taken out of it in the newspapers today, the News Corp correspondent. They're not, he used some very interesting phrases around Warner. Warner's playing. He says, he used that phrase, "We don't need to worry about future-proofing. We're concerned with the moment." And he points to the World Test Championship, and that's the impact to some degree that the World Test Championship has had on cricket, that every test match is important. You should not experiment. You should not be placing the needs of the future in front of the needs of the present. And to my mind, and I think to theirs, David Warner continues to play until somebody proves that they are a better option than him. And I'm not convinced, and I don't believe that they are convinced, that any of the waiting openers are better than him. And shock horror, I'm not sure that any of the three openers in this great Australian bat-off that we're witnessing in the last round of the Sheffield Shield will actually necessarily play this summer. I don't think that Harris, Renshaw or Bancroft are necessarily the replacement for Warner. I think Green comes in.
What would you think
Not to the opening slot, but
no.
He comes back into the team.
Yeah, what would you think of a rejigged Australian batting lineup? So a little bit of the philosophy around, so post-Warner, I guess we're talking the West Indies test. Write down the best 6 test batters in Australia. And I think it would be Head, Marnus, Khawaja, Smith, Marsh, Green. Do they choose to do that? And therefore, he unprompted, he raised Boone from 3 to opening, and it's sort of hard to miss that, is Marnus to opening and Green to 4, which was always the Greg Chappell in the foretelling of Cameron Green. This was always it, wasn't it? not just an all-rounder who would be 6, but a batter good enough to occupy 4.
Yeah, that's what Greg thinks. There are some other sort of significant minds in cricket who have gone off Greeny's batting a little bit, but I'm sure that can be adjusted or fixed. I love it. I love it particularly because of it speaks to a sort of more exciting brand of cricket, more daring do, a more not just being stuck in the traditions of cricket, which is sort of goes back to the way they thought through that World Cup and some of their processes around that. And I've said it before to you, my head was turned by Bazball just as an entertainment, just the entertainment factor. And while McDonald and Cummins all they want to do is win. They're not concerned with entertainment. But by looking at Green and acknowledging Green, I think we're going to get more entertainment in the way that Australia goes about its cricket if we have Green and Marsh in the same team. Having said that, Gerard, history with Marsh is that he's not there for long. Injury often catches up with him. Fingers crossed that he is past that. And equally, Green's durability, given his youth, has been extraordinary. We would have expected him to have broken again by now at some point, but he hasn't. So, in an ideal world, if they're both fit and both in the team, it's going to be some fun.
It will be. It will be. So it felt to me like there's a squad coming on Sunday, so the end of the Shield rounds. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, final decisions made, maybe a squad, maybe only 14, 2 extra quicks, 1 extra batter. So presumably that's Boland, Green, and then 1 other quick. So that yeah. I think it will take the PM's 11's been framed as a bat-off. It's anything but a bat-off between Bancroft, Renshaw and Harris. I think they'll know that they're not in it before they go and pad up.
I don't know. They're pretending it's hard. I suppose I could say I had a little chat with Andrew McDonald this morning on the phone. I said, I hope you're heading off for a counter lunch somewhere in Geelong and you're going to have an afternoon nap and just enjoy this break. You deserve it. So, mate, we've got to pick the team. Oh, come on, it's the 11 plus Green plus a spare batter and a spare bowler. It's just great. I can go to the pub now. It shouldn't be that hard, should it?
And what was it like yesterday? So Mitch Starc and Pat Cummins paraded the trophy. I hope that is a feature of our summer. We had some great suggestions last week around lunch on the first day of each test, for instance, parading the mace and the ashes and the World Cup trophy. How was it? It was presented low key yesterday.
I heard a whisper when I went in that they were having trouble locating the mace. I hope Mitch Marsh isn't using it sort of to play fetch with his dog or something and show the same disrespect he showed the World Cup. Yeah, it was interesting, isn't it? I really enjoyed this. I've sort of tongue-in-cheek had a go at them today in the paper, but I've really enjoyed the low-key re-entry. It is so on brand to see Cummins push his shopping cart through that airport alone. Not even his wife or his dog or his kid came out to see him. He said, that's too early for them. I mean, God, compare and contrast to what would still be going on in India and Ahmedabad and those sorts of things. They're not going to get the ticker tape parade. He did suggest that it would be amusing to put, the new cult hero of Australian cricket, Travis Head, as a hood ornament on the bus and lead him through the streets. Yeah, parade it around, mate. Stick it in the cupboard. We've won. Let's just get on with it.
Was there, from what I saw and read, is Cummins in particular, there is a great sense of pride in what they did.
Oh, yeah, yeah. How often in life, Gerard, do you sort of knuckle down and work meticulously to a point and everything go to plan the way that World Cup did? It kind of confirmed every hunch they'd had, every effort they'd made, every gamble that they'd taken. That there is a rare beauty to the way this World Cup came together. So they should all be feeling pretty smug with themselves. Some of them, they all have their own ways of going about it, and none of them sort of come out and have a bit of a lash around. But I noticed Zampa keeps the receipts.
Yes, yes.
And I wouldn't be, which is one of those new phrases, isn't it, Gerard? I have to be careful I don't overuse that. I quite like keeping the receipts. can't even remember what I was saying then.
Just the sense of pride in what they were able to do.
It's enormous pride and enormous satisfaction. And how could you not? And how could you not reflect on the achievements of this team? I saw a meme the other day that put. Funny how memes teach you so much this life. Put it into perspective about the trophies that the Fab Four of our era have won. So just through the Steve Smith prism, Steve Smith's got the 3 World Cup trophies and the mace and everything in front of him. And then you look at Coley and you look at Williamson and you look at, who's the other member of the Fab Four, Jet?
Coley, Williamson, Smith.
Yeah. Well, Smith's got them all. Anyway, I still think we're missing one, but okay.